I'm Victor Y, and this is basically how I got a free A1 Mini. So let me go ahead and give you a quick disclaimer right here. First of all, this is gonna be a long, unedited video, so if you don't want that, you can go ahead and look at the website that I put down below, or watch the YouTube short version of it. Right? Those have pictures. Well, those are the only pictures I have, by the way. Right? They'll have pictures. It's written or in video form. It's way shorter. Right? You can go ahead and look at that. Right? Second of all, this is all about a game jam, by the way, right, that I joined. So I'm gonna go ahead and start from the very start. All right. So the very first thing is this game was a game jam by Hack Club. All right. Now I didn't know what Hack Club was until October 2024, and I found out about it because of my Macropad series on YouTube. Right. That's like my most favorite series. Someone from robotics went ahead and told me about the fact that you can get a free hack pad, like a macro pad, from this thing called Hack Club. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I joined that, did the hack pad thing, right? It's actually right here. It's not fully built yet, by the way. There's some missing parts, right? But I have it right now, actually, right? And yeah, that was kind of cool. And then I was at a family friend's house eating dinner, and then I got an email, right? So I opened my phone. I'm like, oh, cool. So this is a game jam happening, right? And I was pretty excited. So I went ahead and saved the date, and then that was it. So then I waited for a while. Like, I think it was a few weeks, and then well, I signed up obviously, but then I waited a few weeks, and we almost did not go because it was really far away, and yeah, right. So it was like an hour and a half away, and there wasn't many people in the house or anything like that. So it was a lot for my dad just to drive that far. But basically, eventually, we actually did end up going, and I'm really, really glad we did because first of all, when I got there, I didn't know anyone, right? The only information I had, right, the only person I knew was this guy named Hayden, all right? And I never met this guy. It's just some dude on the Discord server. And I'm like, want to team up? He's like, yeah, sure, all right. So then I woke up at like 5 a.m., drove there, got there, right? And so I'm getting my tablet set up, right? I have my tablet. I'm getting my mouse set up. You can watch a video on that down below. Get my keyboard set up. You can also watch another video on that down below, right? My headphones, got everything set up, charging, right? Have my USB-C dock, all that kind of stuff, right? And then some guy just like walks up like, "Hey, are you?" I'm like, "Yeah." Are you Hayden? He said, "Yeah." So that was Hayden. We're like, "All right, cool." Um, yeah. So we just kind of stayed quiet for a little bit, right? And then he saw some two other kids, right, across the room. He's like, "We want to ask them to come join us, right? So we have more people on the team." Right? Yeah, sure. So he went ahead and asked them to come join us, and they said yes. And their names were Ayan and Colin, right? So now we had a four-person team. That's the maximum number of people allowed in Counterspell, right? Oh, by the way, one thing I forgot is that at the very start of Counterspell, when you walk in the door, we got these cool T-shirts, right? So this might not look very exciting. It's just, the simple Counterspell logo, right? But the really cool part that I thought was, what I loved, was the design on the back, right? This is a really cool design. I don't know if you can see this properly, but yeah. I didn't wear it yet because it was way too cold, and it's gotten even colder since then. But yeah, this was on November. I don't know when. I forgot exactly what day, but November. Yeah, probably in the short. Um. So yeah, we went ahead and got there. Right, it was pretty cool. Also, I should also add this. Counterspell, by the way, is a game jam, right? A global game jam, with like over 50 plus cities across the world, right? And we didn't know the theme yet, by the way, but we were all supposed to make a game just together, right? And so there were how many? Yeah, there were over 1,500 participants and over 600 games submitted. All right, so it wasn't like a small thing either. It was a global thing, hundreds of projects, right? All that kind of stuff. So now it is four of us people. None of us have met each other other than Ayan and Colin, who already knew each other, right? But yeah, just four random people who never met each other, and we have to make a game. All right. So again, the open ceremony was kind of cool, right? This kind of gives a rundown about Counterspell, how the day is gonna go, schedule, all that kind of stuff, right? And then they also revealed the game, right? Actual theme. So we were like, okay, because before the hand we were talking about gambling, right? And how it would be kind of funny if we made a gambling game, right? And then the theme, we got the theme, right? And it happened to be you are your own enemy, which is perfect because when you're gambling, you are your own enemy, right? You keep on gambling, 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 get to a deeper and deeper hole, and you just can't stop, right? So we're like, wait a second, it's like low key perfect, right? We can do gambling as our actual game. So that's what we did. And for the first like, I don't know, maybe half an hour, we were all just kind of like on the table, right? How all our stuff set up, and we were all talking about what the game should be, right? So we had a piece of paper out, right? We were writing down ideas, all kind of stuff, sketching things, all kind of stuff, right? We were bouncing ideas back and forth. We had lots of different ideas, and then eventually Hayden had the idea of Plinko, and we're like, okay, I'm fine with that, right? Colin and I did not know what that was, so we drew it out, and then they're like, okay, sure, right? That seems easy enough to make, right? But we only had 12 hours. We're like, it doesn't really matter. We're mainly here to have a bit of fun, right? So it should be a somewhat easy game. So we went ahead and chose Plinko, right? Now, to actually get the work done, right, we have to divide some work up. So Ayan, Colin, and me, right, we all wanted to go ahead and program, right? And then Hayden was found doing art. Like, all right, cool. So Hayden was doing art, right, in not MS Paint. Hold up, I forgot what the software was, right? Uh, MS. Yeah, I forgot what the software. It's in the presentation, by the way, which is in the website. But it's not. He wasn't using MS Paint, but it was a software that was basically MS Paint, and he was making his art, right? And Colin, right, and I started opening Godot, right? I never used Godot, but he did. So he was like kind of managing all that kind of stuff. And then we were like, how is the whole multi-computer system thing gonna work, right? Because he's on his laptop, I'm on my tablet, which is remoting into my PC, right? Ayan's on his laptop. How are we all gonna work on the same project? We're like, okay, GitHub then. And so then we use GitHub, but then basically if someone saves their project and pushes the changes, and then we pull the changes, it gives us the option to either keep our current changes, right, and discard the new changes, or discard the new discard our current changes and accept the new changes. So I don't know if I said that wrong, but basically, right, you can only keep one or the other. You couldn't merge them together, which is kind of weird, but yeah, that basically meant we could only have one programmer. And because Colin knew the Godot the best, right, we decided, sure, Colin should go ahead and be the programmer. So now Hayden has a job, Colin has a job. Ayan and I were like, okay, what should we do? And then Ayan remembered that he's actually pretty good at making music, right? So he went ahead and got his everything set up to make some music. He actually made 7 OSTs, which is crazy, right? But yeah, so we had some music now. Then I'm like, okay, what should I do? I don't know. So what I ended up doing was I'm like, all right, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So for now, I'm gonna go ahead and gonna write the README for the repo, right? So people know how to play the game, blah blah blah, what the game is, right? And so then I started writing the repo, and I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and write, I don't know, like a basics like intro almost, right? Like an intro paragraph. So I was writing a little bit of backstory, and I'm like, wait a second, right? I could turn this into an actual like story based game, right? So I went ahead and like had a whole paragraph. And I'm like, guys, what do you think? Should we make this like a storyline kind of system, right? And everyone's like, sure, yeah, because we have a lot of extra time, right? 12 hours, clinical game, not that hard. So what we went ahead and did was we made it so it was a storyline based game. So what I was doing was I was writing a whole page of voice lines and all kind of stuff, right? And conditionals for like when certain voice lines should appear, how it all works, right? All the kind of stuff. So there's a whole document. It's on the repo, by the way. Um, so yeah, I was writing that whole thing, and basically because I was making the whole storyline, now it kind of became on me to manage the team as well because I'm the one with the vision in my head, and I have to share that with the team. So what I went ahead and did, right, it was like basically we're all working in a circular table, all 4 of us, right, and I'm just kind of writing my stuff, and then every once in a while, like Hayden's like, oh hey, I'm gonna make this asset. What should it look like based on the storyline, right? Or what else do we need to add for the art, right? So I'd be like, okay, this. I'll tweak it that a little bit, change that. That kind of support for Hayden. Then Ayan will be asking like, okay, I want to make another OST. What should the theme be? What should I make it feel like, right? I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna need another soundtrack for this section, right? It's gotta have this kind of mood to it. This is the context, right? This is what's happening, all that kind of stuff, right? And that's what the art looks like as well. It's like, all right. Then Colin's like, all right, so what else is happening? What else do we need to add? And I'm like, okay, we're adding this feature, that feature. We're gonna do this thing at that time, blah blah blah, right? So we were adding new features all the time. I was managing all the art and music and all kind of stuff, right? So it was a pretty. I actually we all worked pretty well, right? We all had our own jobs, we were all working pretty smoothly. And then eventually, like within a few hours, I was done writing my voice lines, right? Didn't take that much time. So now I'm like, oh shoot, what should I do? And then I'm like, oh wait, we actually record the voice lines. So what we went ahead and did was record the voice lines, but I talk fast, I slur my words, right? You can probably tell that by now. So I didn't really want to do most of the voice lines, but Hayden was up to the task, right? So Hayden did most of the voice lines for the player, right? No, all the voices for player, and I think I think he also did the intro voice line, right? So he did the intro and all of player voice lines, and then what I ended up doing was all the devil voice lines, or I think all of them except for one maybe, and then the lose or win scenario voice lines, right? So basically, we went ahead and recorded those. That whole thing was really funny. I had to take my headphones, right, and we kind of used a mic and plugged into my phone and had a whole like adapter thing going on with the default recording app on my phone with a Pixel 8. Pixel 8 then. Um, so we're recording that, right? But because it's a game jam, there's a lot of people talking, right? So a lot of stuff going on. Really hard to find a quiet place to record the audio. So what we ended up doing was we kind of found like a secret place that we technically weren't supposed to be in. We're like, all right. They're like, okay, sure, you can do that for like 5 minutes. We're like, all right, fine. So we quickly recorded all the voice lines and it went pretty well. I just had the document open, right, and he was kind of reading them out. And I'm like, oh, the feel doesn't feel that right. Maybe try that one again with this kind of tone, all that kind of stuff, right? And then eventually got some pretty good voice lines, right? So now we had the voice lines written, the voice lines recorded, right? All that kind of stuff done, right? Turns out I also forgot some voice lines to actually write some voice lines for certain scenarios. So we ended up kind of going back and forth a few times, but yeah, that was basically what happened, right? Um, Unfortunately, my headphones tend to record at a really low volume, which is why in some of my videos you'll hear that my microphone is like really low, right? It's because I have my EQ on, so I don't really notice it. It just kind of balances the audio. Sometimes I forget to turn it off when I'm editing. That just happens, right? So basically, it was kind of low. So we went to Ayan and we're like, yo, could you like up it a little bit? He's like, yeah, sure. And then because there's so many voice lines, right? It was kind of hard to actually up it. So we ended up kind of deep frying the audio. But yeah, whatever. Right. So that didn't happen yet, by the way. But we're all kind of doing that. And then I believe it's like lunchtime, right? Hold on, let me. By the way, whenever I'm looking here, I'm looking at the website site. Let me try to remember everything properly. Um. Yeah. So I think it was. Yeah, I think lunchtime already happened maybe before I was. Yeah, lunchtime already happened before I was done writing, right? But I think for lunch it was pizza. Yeah, pizza. Wait, yeah. So yeah, so we had like pizza for lunch, right? It was fine, and then we kind of went back to work, and we were working blah blah blah, and we also had a guest speaker after lunch, right? Unfortunately, I forgot his name, but basically he is a game dev recruiter. All right, he works for a lot of companies like Activision, all that kind of stuff, right? So he kind of hires a bunch of talent to make these games, right? So he was talking about like what you need to do at a young age if you want to get hired, tips for the real world, all the kind of stuff, right? So that was pretty cool. And then we all got back to work. Because at this point, we were realizing that we have a lot of stuff now that we want to add in the game. And now we were starting to feel like, there's not that much time. Because if you factor in time for dinner, right? Then you also have to present and vote, right? That also takes up some time. We don't have that much time left, right? We only have like a few hours left. So like, all right, all right. So then Hayden and Ayama were working faster on making the art, and at this point, I was done with my section, right? So I was kind of like assisting everyone, right? Because everyone needed to know exactly what to do, right? They didn't have time to read the storyline, like understand it, and make something on their own, right? They're like, just tell me what to make. I'm like, all right, right. So I was telling everyone like exactly what to make, all that kind of stuff. At the end, the game was not finished actually, right? So we ended up presenting a very unfinished version of the game, right? And then while eventually Hayden finished and Ayan finished with their work, right? And it was left all on Colin. All right, Colin had to like make the entire thing to come together. He did like I would say about half of the work for the entire game, right? So he deserves the most credit. Also, everyone's socials and everything is on the repo. So you want to contact them, you can do that on the repo. But basically, he had to do most of the work, right? Because he had to take everything that we made, right? All the extra features we kept adding and adding and adding, all the kind of stuff, and actually condense it and program it into an actual playable game, right? So while he was doing that, if he didn't need help, I was kind of working on the itch page, making it look nice, right? Adding all the README, making sure that's all formatted correctly, blah blah blah. So we have all that done now, and dinner, yeah, dinner happened, right? We had some Italian food for that, right? And Colin was working through dinner, right? Like we had to force him to eat. Like he was like really locked in, right? So he ate a little bit, and then he went right back to work, right? We were all working on dinner. Hayden was scouting a little bit. He was just talking to some people, but yeah, we also met some new people. Shoot, I forgot his name. I have his DM. One second. I am so sorry. No, where did his username go? That's a lot of people. Hold up, 2 minutes. Did he change his picture? Wait, wait. Yeah, there it is. What's his name? Yeah, Mark. Yeah, that's his name, right? He was also not showing us his game. It was like a Roblox game, right? So we were getting to see everyone else's game. It was really cool. And then Colin was like absolutely locked in trying to make the game, right? Even while people were presenting, he was adding all of the like last finishing touches because he didn't have enough time to add all the voice lines yet, right? He didn't have enough time to add Ion's music at all, actually, right? There wasn't even a single song in there. I was like really like nervous about that part, so we ended up like kind of trying to add one song in there, right? But because it wasn't essential to the actual gameplay, it ended up not getting added, right? So he ended up playing that separately in the presentation. But yeah, it was like it was a huge time crunch as time went on, right? Because at the start we're like, oh, we have so much time, right? Such a simple game. We had so much more stuff. The time crunch was really hard, right? It's getting harder and harder and harder, right? So yeah, a lot more stressful. And then obviously to mitigate some of the stress, we had a lot of snacks, we had a lot of soda, right? So to mitigate some of that, I was making sure everything was clean, everyone knew what they're doing, everyone was organized, right? All that kind of stuff. So now it's time to actually present the game, right? So it's been like almost 12 hours, not fully yet, but almost 12 hours. It has like 11 hours, right? And it was time to submit the projects, right? So Colin went ahead and submitted the project, right? And we were gonna start presenting soon, right? So we were kind of looking at presentations, right? There were a lot of cool games, right? And eventually it was time for us to present. So we walked up, we plugged the computer into the HDMI because Colin's computer didn't actually. No, was it Colin's computer? I think it might have been someone's. I think it might have been someone's MacBook. I forgot. But basically, whatever computer it was, it didn't have an HDMI port, so I had a dongle, right? Plug that in. Screen was glitching, so it turns out that dongle, the HDMI signal on that isn't great anymore. I don't know. The cable's been used a lot, so could be that. Um, but yeah, basically, we were using that. It was glitching out. Thankfully, they had another dongle. Swapped it out. Working fine. And yeah, then I went ahead and I presented, right, my part. I was like, this is the storyline, blah, blah, blah. This is the basics, right? Now, does Colin want to talk about anything? He was like, what should I talk about? I'm like, I don't know. How you made the game, how'd you feel, all that kind of stuff, right? That's what Colin did. Then he passed it back to Ion, right? Ion was talking about how he did the music. He even played a little bit of music, right? And then Hayden went ahead and talked about, all the art and all kind of stuff, right? And that was it. Then we had to watch a bunch more presentations. Things were running so late, by the way, right? Because they pushed back the deadline a little bit more and more every like, few minutes because no one was done, right? So everyone was in like a half playable state, right? There's some people who actually had like a fully functioning game, which is crazy, right? And yeah, that was about it. And then it was time to vote. Everyone was like literally walking out while they were voting, right? It was like it was like super late, right? They didn't even have time to do the closing ceremony inside the event. They had to send to us virtually, but that's fine, right? It's fair. We had a lot of extra time, so they went ahead and gave us a link to vote. We were voting, right? And then the results came out a few days later, right? And we're like, okay, what are the results? I think was it a few days later or that day? I don't know. It might have been that day. But basically, the results came out, and we did not win. We actually got like pretty low. Like we're like halfway, or maybe a little bit lower in the local area, right? But we had about 2 weeks to finish the game to submit it to the global submissions, right? We're like, all right. I mean, just we're probably not gonna, win anything, but might as well submit it, right? Why not? Might as well finish what we made, and we all worked together pretty well, so we want to kind of continue that. So we went ahead and kind of slowly worked on things for the next 2 weeks, right? We were fixing like optimizations, bugs, right? Make sure all the stuff that she implemented in the game, all the voice lines, all the music, right? We were also cutting some stuff out because it was like not really needed, right? And doing all that kind of stuff, and the game was done, right? And then yeah, I think Colin was working on even on the last day like of the submission date. Like he was like working because there were a lot of little issues. He wanted to make the code look a bit nicer, all that kind of stuff, right? So now the repo is done, and then we went ahead and submitted on for the global submission. And we're like, all right, guess we gotta wait. And this is like November something, right? Yeah, no, this happened December, right? And we only got fifth out of ninth place, yeah, for the local thing. And so, all right. So then on the okay, yeah. And then basically I was at a family friend's anniversary party, right? And then on the way back from that at 9:23 p.m. on December 15th, 2024, I got an email while I was coming home from a party and I opened it up, right? And it was like, okay, the global forum's opening. I'm like, all right, cool, might as well vote, right? And I opened it, and it's like, these are the top 10 products that we selected. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's see what the products are. And surprisingly, actually, I didn't see that yet. Colin told me that, right, in the Discord, that, like, um, we got in the top 10, right? So, no, yeah. So what happened? Okay, hold on. Yeah, okay, went to the website. I got the email, thought, cool, let me send it to the team, but I didn't open the email yet. And Colin said we're in the top 10. I'm like, no way. So I opened the email, right? Saw the thing. We actually were in the top 10. So we were ecstatic, right? We're like, this is great. Hayden was like, this is gonna look great on my portfolio, right? Great on my resume, all that kind of stuff, right? We're like, okay, cool. We actually have a chance, right? We got like pretty bad in our local thing, but we might actually legitimately have a chance, right? Um, so we all voted, right? And that's it. We got in the top 10. As the second I got home, I didn't even change my clothes. I just recorded a video just like that, right? It'll be in the playlist down below. And yeah, that's it, right? Recorded it, done. Then we had to wait a while. That was December 15th, 2024, right? Now on January 10th, 2025, right? Let's go a while. Um, the results were announced, right? For context, it was only top, except first place and second place, right? There was no third place for this event at all, right? So we're like, we're almost definitely not going to get it, especially looking at the other games on the list, right? We're like, no way, right? So we went ahead and opened the thing, and we legitimately got second place, right? The first place will be an all expenses paid trip to the next hackathon that Hack Club hosts, and the second place is a Bamboo Lab A1 Mini, all right? So we got second place, and we're like really happy, right? So yeah, first place was Remedy Renemy, right? So it was a cozy potion making puzzle game, right? Where we're a witch who keep on acting forgetting things. That one I did vote for actually, so I'm glad that one vote won. The art on that is amazing, right? I'll go ahead and link their stuff down below as well, right? And then we actually legitimately got second place. We were ecstatic, right? Because what happened was I got an email, right, on January 10th, 4:20 p.m. All right, and I forgot where I was, but yeah, I was like, I think I might have been just at home, right? Yeah. I'm like, oh wait, there's an email, right? And then I'm like, oh guys, the results are open, and then I opened it, and we were actually second place, which is again, I know this like 5 times, mind blowing, right? So yeah, I legitimately just did not believe it. I thought it might have been like a typo or something like that, right? Even though they had all of our picture and all that stuff, but I thought it might have been like on accident. But then we actually got a message from Sophia on the Slack, right? They're like, all right, you guys legit actually won second place. So go ahead and send her address for the Bamboo Lab and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's really cool. The Bamboo Lab's not coming to March, by the way, because Bamboo is back ordered like crazy. They're like completely sold out. But yeah, so this is basically what happened throughout the entire period, and I'd say it was really fun, right? Because I've always wanted to be in a game jam, right? And the only like programming competition things I've ever been in is first Tech Challenge, right, which is robotics, which is there's so many rules, right? It's like so strict and everything. You don't really have a chance to innovate. You're like, oh cool, what if we use this part and did that kind of thing, right? Like nah, that part's just not allowed. You can't use that. You have to use these approved parts. And you have to like do all that kind of stuff, right? So it's like a whole thing. So I didn't really love FTC. We didn't really do great in FTC either, my team. So that's that, right? And there's also like some other like online programming competition we run, but like they're also like kind of meh, and they're also mainly math based, right? That's one thing. That's like USA code, right? That's how you pronounce that. But that kind of stuff really math based. So I actually wanted to do game jam really badly, and I was really glad that I actually got the email right after making my whole hackpad thing right here. So yeah, it was a pretty great experience, right? It was really fun meeting a lot of people, right? Um, I learned how I work with other people like for the first time, right? I learned I'm a lot better than I thought I was, right? I learned my presenting skills were pretty good, right? So I think overall, for like absolutely no practice, the first time ever, I think we did really, really well, right? And so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and link all the info for everything in the description. And yeah, that's about it. I'll see you later. Bye.